I watch episode 59 of Pokémon every year because I watch every episode of Pokémon every year. Episode 59, The Breeding Center Secret, begins with Todd Snap again trying to legitimize his existence. In his third consecutive appearance, Snap continues his attempts to integrate himself within the Ash and Friends dynamic, making himself useful with his only valuable trait. Ash is confident and comfortably conceited, Brock is wise and can cook, Misty is sociable and can hold grudges, and Snap has a camera. In a time when that was rare but still not very impressive. The simple addition of a photographer was enough justification to add him to their party, but within the complex dynamic of only child energy, eldest child energy, and youngest child energy, Snap isn't a great hang, unless they're actually hanging. And his attempt at acceptance through his art is neutered by a superior media. Again enthralled by the allure of advertisements aimed at the most malleable demographic, they go to the breeding center unaware of its secret, one of who is more eager in breeding than the others. As in the games, breeding centers provide temporary abandonment as a service, with the benefit being that the longer you neglect your Pokémon, the more powerful it becomes. Misty, who already neglects one of her Pokémon with no benefits, entrusts them with Psyduck. She disparages its abilities verbally and physically, and offers her plumed partner no affection as it slides away down an ominous conveyor belt. After leaving her loon behind like luggage, Ash accuses Misty of abandoning her foibling feathered friend forever, which Misty refutes despite being intent on doing so in its every appearance. With his own status amongst the group at risk, Snap changes the subject to supper. A local chef offers free food for those with his favorite Pokémon. Again, all of their Pokémon are told by somebody that they just met that they are not good enough, with Charizard again noticeably absent. The Pokémon that he cares for most is related to his profession. Who's that Pokémon? The main dish. A free meal if they provide the ingredients. That's the all-you-can-eat buffet secret. Finding value in her Psyduck for the first time, they rush back to the breeding center, but it's closed. Determined, they break in through the back and discover that it's all a scam. That was the secret. Instead of actively trying to stop the animal rights abuses, Snap offers to just take their picture so that the more competent authorities can handle it. But he left the flash on. They find Psyduck but are unable to free it before their breaking and entering is interrupted by more breaking and entering. They also raise suspicion, and the scam is revealed to be run by other operatives within their organization, sporting outfits with inverted color schemes and an introduction nearly identical to that of the regular insurgents. Within conformist corporate power structures, there is no originality or uniqueness. The forced similarities invite constant skewed self-reflection that promotes internal competition. Overwhelmed by ops, Ash and friends make their escape, abandoning Psyduck even though the villains are able to rescue their own Pokémon, which, like the other felons' latest catch, offers its owner oral pleasure. Ash and friends and Snap and enemies all run for the exit, but they have cages big enough for them too. Misty alone escapes, abandoning everyone, and the extra evildoer snags Snap's camera. Now he has nothing. The cops assume that they are all burglars, because law enforcement trusts businesses more than individuals, assured that an establishment that has giant metal cages to spare is just a health spa. None of the authorities are ever competent. The next day, during regular business business hours, Misty returns in disguise to retrieve her Psyduck, and more importantly, the evidence to exonerate her cohort. With the secret out with substantial proof, they return to the breeding center and defeat the gangsters very easily. So quickly that it doesn't really make sense why they were afraid of them before. They return to the restaurant with the favored fowl in tow and eat what is called ice cream off of plates. Another Japanese culinary staple, clipped, referred to as a food that wouldn't require cooking at all. Also present is the cop who celebrates doing nothing whilst continuing to fail in her duties. They leave another town collectively accomplishing nothing, and Snap decides to split from the group. He would rather climb mountains alone. Whilst wrongly imprisoned and without his camera, Snap had nothing. And from nothing came the realization that he didn't need anything. He didn't need friends, especially ones who are in constant consort with criminals. Instead of trying to find a niche to serve within the group, a weak point he could serve most, he now understands that they don't have weak points, because they don't have points at all. There's no point to them. Their uselessness attracts more uselessness. He survived sewers and schools, but thus ends his tour of fools. Snap is back to his reality, only held down by gravity. Over his home with Ash, cause he chose his own path to see coast to coast, land and sea. Goes the whole map to be known for more than just 3 episodes that don't matter. The scope he holds capturing Pokémon candidly, posed photographically, their souls in his camera, scant of companions, alone but not abandoned, he captured the moments and grows his own fandom. It's better to lose friends than to lose yourself. Snap does return in episode 187, Moving Pictures, and episode 188, Spring Fever, and episode 189, Freeze Frame, but that's it. 3 is still his limit for social interaction. Snap also appears in the sequel to Pokémon Snap, New Pokémon Snap, where his distance from Ash has allowed him to be one of the very few who get to experience time. Sometimes you make new friends and then realize that you'd rather be alone. Sometimes you never need friends. To be continued.